All right, next question up. Read the question sentence first. Question sentence says, how much time is saved on the return trip? Okay, one more time. We are looking for time clearly, how much time, but specifically we want to know how much time we saved on the return trip. Okay, so my understanding about that, I'm going to read the actual story to help back up what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say we're going to subtract. Here's how I know. It says a delivery van drives this distance to the warehouse at this speed and then returns at this speed. So it looks like we go a certain speed there and then a certain speed back. Everyone, hypothetically speaking, again, just throwing random numbers out here for the example, hypothetically speaking, if we were to have taken, let's say, 10 hours on the way there, and then on the way back, we took 3, or let's go ahead and say 12 hours on the way back. Everybody, how much time would we be saving? Well, that's going to be a matter of subtraction. So if I wanted to actually use a really good example, we could probably use something less than 10. We can go with, let's go ahead and say 6 hours. But if you take a look, if we took 10 hours to get there, and then we took 6 hours to get back, you're going to subtract the 10 minus 6, and that's going to give you 4 hours that you saved. Because it would have taken you 10 hours to get back, but no, you only took 6. So it was a difference of 4. You saved 4. So with that example, let's tackle this problem here. It says delivery van drives 180 miles, so the distance there is 180 miles. And the rate that we drove at was at 40 miles per hour. On the return trip, everybody, the return trip says that we drove at 60 miles an hour. So I'll go ahead and draw that and write that right over here. But my party people, what's the distance? Is it still 180? Is it something different? Well, the way that the sentence is written, it clearly says the van drove 180 miles there and then returned at this speed. But if it returns, it's the same distance back. Point A to B is the same as point B to A, unless otherwise stated. So boom, same distance, 180 miles. Now to get each of those times, the time over here and the time over here, everybody, what operation are we going to use when we set it up? Distance equals rate times time. Yeah, we're going to be using division here. So once we use division, we divide both sides by 40. And from there, we can go ahead and just do some long division to get what that'll be. So here we go. 40 going into 180. 40 goes into 180. That'll be 4 times. And that's 4 times 40, which would be 160. 20 left over. And what I do from here is I'll go ahead and use my decimal place, write that 0 right after, because that's where it is. It exists always. Drop that 0. And then 40 to 200, that'll be 5. 40 goes into 200 5 times, or 4 goes into 20. Either way you want to look at it. But there we are. So the time for the trip there is 4.5 hours. Now here's what we're going to do with part B. Let me just move this over here and let's keep working. So here, to find this time, we have distance equals rate times time. Divide both sides by 60. And now we get time is 3 hours. Cancels out on the right. 180 divided by 60. That'll be 3. So booyah, my party people. We have the time there, the time back. To find out how much time we saved, we'll simply do 4.5 minus 3. Once we subtract, we have 5 right there. 4 minus 3 is 1. And we save ourselves 1.5 hours. And that, my friends, is answer choice C. All right, here we go. Next question up. So in this problem, starting with that question sentence, we're given the volume of this figure that we're discussing, But ultimately, what we're looking for, everyone, is its length. So I'm going to show you in this problem how most people will make this mistake by reading too quickly. We know that, again, we want to know the length. We're given the volume. And then we see that it's a storage shed that has a width, has a height because of how tall it is, and we want to know the length. That's going to tell me that we're dealing with a rectangular prism. And since we're talking about volume, we can say volume equals length times width times height. So here's the mistake that most people make. What they'll do is they'll too quickly write down the information saying, hey, my volume is 768. And then that's going to be equal to the length that I'm looking for times the 8 and then times the 4. But the problem, the biggest problem with that is that we have to make sure we're dealing with the same units. If you take a second careful look at this, our volume right here is listed in cubic feet. So I'll say feet cubed. What that means, my friends, is that we need our length to be in feet, our width to be in feet, and our height to be in feet. Because the way that we get cubic feet for volume, three-dimensional, is the 3 dimensions multiplied together. Feet, feet, and feet. Here's the problem. The problem is, sure, the 8 feet wide for the width, yes, that's proper, but the 4 is yards. That's the problem. If we rushed in this question here, we would have definitely gotten answer choice A, which is incorrect. Let me show you how to get the proper final answer. We are going to take this right over here. Let me duplicate this. And I'm going to convert the 4 feet into yards, okay? Or excuse me, I'm going to convert the 4 yards that I'm given into feet. So this is the problem with writing down your information too quickly. I almost thought that that was already in feet. So again, you can't make those mistakes. So I'll go ahead and erase the 4 feet. I'll make sure to write that as yards. And we want to convert that into feet. My party people, to go from yards to feet, 1 yard equals 3 feet, are we going to multiply or divide the 4? Yeah, the answer to that is going to be multiplication. To go from the bigger unit to the smaller unit, what we will do is we will multiply by that conversion, that 3. So for every yard we have, we multiply by 3 to get the number of feet, which is going to be 12. Now I have what I need. Now I can remove this over here and bring in the actual height. Now we're good to go. So when we get after this, we see that we'll have 768 equals L times 8 times 12. We can bring the 8 and the 12 together to make 96. So sure, let's go ahead and just do that if we want to. Length times 96 equals 768. You could have also divided by 8 and then 12, but either way, we're good. I'm just going to go ahead and divide by the entire 96, and we'll be done with this problem right now. But the only problem is we have to do a little bit of guessing, but that's okay. So if we wanted to take a guess at how many times 96 can go into 768, the way that I'll kind of look at it is I'll say this is about 100, and this is almost 800. So I'm going to see if 8 is the number. So if I do 96 multiplied by 8, I see we have 6 times 8 is 48. And then 9 times 8 is 72. Carry the 4 is 76. That is absolutely correct. And so the correct answer here will be that the length equals 8 feet. And there we go. Answer choice D is the correct answer after converting the unit correctly.